All right, welcome. This is the Strength of Field race Monday night from the Mustang GT4 Challenge series. Top split of three. We're the number 2 car. Completely botched qualifying, and I mean we are starting in dead last. On my first lap, I totally missed turn 1, decided to just really cruise through lap 1, put a lap down that was 5 seconds off pace just to continue warming up the tires for a proper go at it on the second lap. And then coming to the start-finish line on lap 2, I did dip below the yellow line in a place where I guess it gives you a 1x now. So I didn't realize the track limits had changed since the last time I drove this track. The result being we are starting in 24th out of 24 cars in a 2700 strength of field race at one of my least favorite tracks. So it's only a 15-minute race. Can be difficult to pass when these races are just long draft trains, but we gotta try. So jumping ahead to the start here. So we can't win it in lap 1, of course, but we need to take any advantage we can to make it passes while everyone's close. Green car on the outside, backs way off. Not a great launch from the cars on the inside either. The gap is opening up in the middle for us. Try to fill the holes where we can. Everyone's getting checked up. There's a car half spun in turn 1. We lightly get into the back of the 15, but no real harm done there. Try to take it to the outside of all these cars. The 23 car checks up really hard and hits the brake coming through turn 3, so we do get into the back of him, unfortunately. And this damages our front end quite significantly. You can see the replay in the bottom left-hand corner. But we're already past 5 or 6 cars. Damage is going to slow us down on the oval section of this track, unfortunately, but not much we could do there. 16 car goes wide in front of us, coming out of the hairpin. He's kind of cutting back down as we're exiting the corner to the middle of the track. We hit each other side to side. It felt like really significant contact inside the car, but we're both fine. Felt like he could have given me a little bit more room there because I knew he was to the outside, but he might have not known that I had filled the gap to the inside because he was probably focusing on the 15 car. But we're through another position. Gaps starting to open up ahead just due to the checkups in the first few corners and the few incidents that have happened. So it's going to be difficult to make up a lot more positions. The leaders are already exiting the bus stop as we're starting to brake for it. We do see a couple cars slow on the left side, going really wide. Another one spinning to our right. And Chris unfortunately broken on the bottom of the oval going into turn 3 of the oval course. So not sure what happened to him there. But we pick up 4 more spots just through the chicane on the first lap. Notice the 15 car flashing his lights ahead, so I feel like that gives me the right to just flash him aggressively. I don't really like doing that, but in these night races, it is something you can do to get in the head of the other drivers around you. Group of cars ahead of us does go pretty slow into turn 1 side by side, so we close right up to the back of them and actually get to the outside of the 15, but we can't make it past stick there. We did have room to the right side maybe to fill the gap and get right behind the 17 car, but nothing doing. Give him a light tap going into the hairpin. Helps us get by 2 more cars. So we moved up 10 positions just on the first lap and then 2 more in the first couple of corners of lap 2. So we're into 12th on track right now. So we've passed half the cars in the race. Definitely helped a lot by incident, but I am confident that I should have stronger pace than pretty much all of the cars around me. The front end damage is probably going to slow me down maybe half a second to a full second without the draft. We do close up really close to the 17. He was probably braking really conservatively because of the cars ahead of him, but he, lets a gap open up ahead of him. We really have to push to get by these guys early on in the race to give us any chance at potentially getting a top 10. But the cars behind us have started to disappear. Looks like the 22 car going defensive into the bus stop. Just being really patient on the throttle. The 17 car being very slow through the bus stop. Draft not super significant in these cars, but with just the high speed and very long straightaways that we have, it is enough to make overtakes, even in a two-car tandem. And even with our damage in the front end, we're able to get by the 17, get to the outside of the 11, who gets checked up by the 22. So we take it around the outside of both of them going into turn 1. Little side-to-side rubbing with the 11, but we have the position going through turns 2 and 3. So we're through into 10th place at the beginning of lap 3. Daytona Road, I think, is a really fun track for endurance and multi-class, but again, like my issue with Watkins Glen and some of the other tracks on the schedule this season, it's not, for me, a very enjoyable track. Driving slower cars in sprint races, they just turn into kind of draft tracks and open the door for lots of dive bombs because everyone needs to be aggressive in such short races, and the draft makes you feel like a hero sometimes, and you send it into the car ahead of you. We're a little bit guilty of that this race because we started in 24th and only had 15 minutes to try to get the best result we can. But 95% of the lap is just full throttle, which is not interesting to me. Found some pace in practice. We were into the 1:53 second bracket, and in qualifying, I was on pace for a 1:54 flat, which would have started us in 8th or 9th. But you'll see coming to the start-finish line, I did just cut the tri-oval a little bit, which was always the thing to do in qualifying. But they've made it a 1X now, which is very fair. I wish it had been like that for a long time, but I didn't even practice it in the 20 or 30 minutes of practice I did before the race to realize that they changed the track limits. But we did pick off the 22 car there, so we're in 9th place at the beginning of lap 4. Already under 9 minutes to go in the race. We are 6 seconds behind Landon in 8th place, so without some kind of miracle, we're not going to catch the cars ahead of us. But I was feeling pretty good at this point because if I had started 9th, good chance I would still be running 9th, or at least swapping positions. In positions maybe 5th through 9th, so we haven't lost out too much to our potential normal running position, I guess, but it's certainly been an exciting first 3 laps, and we're lucky enough to have mostly survived. '22 cars just holding on to draft range from behind us. I think the limit is about 1 second, maybe 1.2 seconds. Behind him, the gap has opened up enough to the 16 car such that they're probably completely out of draft range. With all of the carnage or bumping in the first few laps, I'm not sure if anyone else around me has damage. I didn't notice it when I was passing the cars, but it's possible. Alright, jumping ahead now to the penultimate lap. Not much has happened. We have caught the 10 car a little bit ahead of us. I think he had a little bit of an issue or a slowdown at some point, but we're still 5 seconds behind. Nothing we can make up in 1 lap. Behind us, positions have changed a little bit. The 6 car got through, or got by the cars that we had passed on lap 3. And he's catching us little by little. He's usually a pretty fast driver. We're dealing with a bit of damage. You can see, just looking at my relative meter, how much I'm losing out to my fastest lap, which was done without the draft. Not crazy, but enough to add up to a few tenths of a second each lap. But here we are starting the final lap, with him 1 second behind us. He is in range of getting our draft coming onto the oval and maybe having a look going into the bus stop or to the start-finish line. So trying to take it smooth and just maximize the exits as best we can. The track is surprisingly low grip. It's very easy to slide the tires coming out of the hairpins and turn 7, exiting the infield and going back into the oval. And the heavy braking zones too make it very easy to overload the front tires and make it difficult to turn, even in a 15-minute race. I'm not sure if or how many more of these races I'll do this week. It's just not a very exciting combo for me, but there's not too many other series that I'm interested in running this week. So he's still 0.8 of a second behind us, so if we can get through the bus stop cleanly, we should be in a pretty good position to stay in 9th place. We do push it a little wide on the exit and have to cut back too much. Those curbs in the final left-hand part of the bus stop can really upset your car. It can give you a 1x, probably can give you a slowdown, but I've not experienced that. They did completely change the curbs since the last time I ran this track, which was last year, I think. But he's not close enough coming out of the bus stop. We're going to finish 9th. We did it in the first 4 laps, passing 15 cars. So we'll take that result. Nothing crazy, about as well as I could have hoped to do anyway. Would have liked to have been battling in the top 9 properly, but when you start 24th, there's only so much you can expect, and yeah, we did what we could. Let's look at the results in some replay. So this is the replay of our pass at the beginning of lap 3. A lot of cars behind us running really wide. Very easy to do. I mean, it's what we did in lap 1 of qualifying, but you can make it stick around the outside if you're confident on the brakes and keep it to the outside of the car ahead of you going through turn 3. Sets you up nicely for the hairpin. We weren't able to get by the 23 on that occasion, but we did make up a few spots there, and it was probably our best move of the race. This is the battle for the win at the very end of the race. So Kyle's in the blue car ahead in first right now. This is the 3 car. He gets a pretty good run coming through the bus stop. Kyle protecting on the inside, but the 3 car goes below the yellow line and just simply drafts by and takes the top split win in that way. Kind of surprised me to see that. That was basically the same move we made in qualifying, which was a 1x and invalidated our lap, but apparently it is a legitimate way to take the win. So let's look at the actual results. 9th place out of 24 in the 2700-ish strength appeal gives us 109 championship points. Not great, but decent recovery race. It's Daytona, so didn't have very high expectations. On to next week. Thanks for watching.